Hey, what's up everyone? Gareth Flyers here. Yeah. So recently I got Spongebob Battle for Bikini Bottom, just recently hit shelves, and I must say, for a remake of a Spongebob licensed game that came out in the mid-2000s, this generated a lot of hype. But the question is, did it live up to the hype? Well, IGN gave it a 5 out of 10. But in order to understand why, we must take apart the game and study it.
Be a winner at the game of life!
Let's start off positive, because holy crap pies, this game is gorgeous. The graphics don't look really smooth, but the particular art style is pretty amazing. It looks like something straight out of an episode of the show, but also if the show was like claymation, which is done before. I literally can't find any pixels on SpongeBob or Sandy, and the environments in general look superb. Each of the stages have their own mini art style, if that makes sense, and it works wonders in setting the mood. Downtown Bikini Bottom is large and populated, Kelp Forest is dark and mysterious, the Merma Layer is legendary and secretive. Patrick is, for some reason, pixely. Like, I can see more pixels on him than the rest of the game. It's not bad, you can barely see any, but wow. And actually, that's more of a compliment, because if you can barely see any pixels on him, that's more than the rest of the game, then I'm pretty much saying that the game runs perfect. All the animations are fast and fluid. Once again, I can't find any problems with any of the graphics. I've never thought I'd say this, but thank you THQ Nordic. All the character designs are great and work with the art style in ways many games can only dream of. The robots are fun and don't really pose a threat, and I think their designs relay that perfectly. The characters of the show mess with the art style pretty well too, and each stage's design, graphically, looks amazing. It looks like they're from the show, but have their own personality at the same time. What I'm trying to stretch out is, everything except Patrick looks amazing. Now let's compare to the original. SpongeBob's character model is leagues better than the original one. His eyes are slightly farther apart, his pants look like actual pants, he's much lighter, and looks more childish overall. It's not a stretch to say I like his newer model more. Patrick, however, is kind of the opposite. Sure, he's lighter, those dumb lines in his forehead are gone, but the darker model and all the flaws gave much more character, and made him feel overall more dumb, I guess. I like his original model more. Squidward was terrible. His shirt color looks off, his arms look like they came from the Nintendo 64, and the lines in his forehead don't work like they do for Patrick. Rehydrated Squidward is much better. Mr. Krabs too. I can't talk about every character though, but they all look perfect. Every single location looks 100, no 1,000 times better. This is a plus of remaking things from the ground up. Like, it just works so perfect. I can't talk about every location, but SpongeBob's house is probably the best example of the fixes this game makes. Like, when you remake a game from the ground up, you can change the designs that don't work and things can be moved around and such. So, SpongeBob's alarm clock looks bland in the original, but Rehydrated fixes that by adding some color and rounding it out. And no, I'm not judging the original game by the restrictions of the hardware it was published on. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is one of the best looking games ever, and it came out on the Nintendo 64. One of the systems that could barely produce graphics ever. And you can at me on that, by the way. The pillow on his bed and his chair in the living room are both more colorful and rehydrated than the original, and I think that's a pretty good note to leave the graphics off on.
Disappointment in the game of life!
Now, here's where we start running into problems. My friend told me to talk about the soundtrack first.
That was his mistake.
So, let's talk about the sound design. It's not great. The original sounds weren't great either, but at the very least I could hear them. If you haven't tampered with the settings at all, then you won't be able to hear things like footsteps and jumps over the music. Besides that, the sound design is annoying. I'd be lying if I said that just listening to the sounds themselves isn't annoying. Like, how do you make footsteps annoying? Well, Battle for Bikini Bottom has you covered. Talk about the music now. No! Fine. I hate Jellyfish Fields and the Marmalader's music with all my heart. Jellyfish Fields gets talked about a lot, and I don't really get it. It's not a good piece of music. Everything else other than Goo Lagoon feels the same. Like, Kelp Forest and Kelp Caves are the exact same song, but there's two different versions. The soundtrack is just not good at all. Either sounds god-awful or the exact same, and both are terrible. Also, the remake is literally just the same soundtrack as the original. There is no difference. Nothing. And music isn't even the weakest part of the game.
Why? Why?
The stage design in this game is very confusing. It would be like if a group of builders tried to build the Eiffel Tower in the White House and failed at building the White House but built the Eiffel Tower just fine. Okay, that comparison didn't make any sense itself. You see why I'm not allowed to write scripts for YouTube videos? Jellyfish Fields is actually really fun. Maybe a little bit too long, but fun. Downtown Bikini Bottom is honestly my favorite level. The level is perfectly built. All the challenges are hard but fair. Sandy is such a joy to control in this level because of the way the flagpoles and such are positioned. Navigating the city is fun, and going where you aren't supposed to be in the rooftops is even more fun. And bungee jumping is fun in that, like, ship part where you have to bungee jump and destroy all the tikis. Maybe a little bit tedious, but fun. And then it all goes downhill from there, except for Goo Lagoon, kind of. The first half of Goo Lagoon is my favorite. The Sandcastle Challenge is stressful but super fun. I don't know what it is, but I always love levels with rising water or lava or something. Finding the floating kids is fun. The caves are also really fun, just not hard in the slightest. And then the boardwalk or pier, whatever they want to call it, is boring and just feels like padding. Killing that robot that stole the sunscreen is very anticlimactic, and that's the whole level. The first boss is a joke. I didn't even take any damage. And that's when a theme kicked in. Well, actually two. Pandering and hand-holding. There's no challenge at all. Breathing is harder than this game, which is honestly a shame because this could have been really fun. Sure, there are some side missions, like the sliding and time ones on Sand Mountain that I can't beat. Or the retarded missions in the Mermalayer, like that ball one and that escort missions that are impossible. But everything else, 97% of the game is easy. Tilt Force is a joke. It's stupid and hard to navigate, and it's not on purpose either. Thankfully, my second favorite level, Spongebob's Dream, makes up for all this dumb stuff by giving a perfect, flawless level. You can't have a perfect game or movie, but you can have a perfect scene or level, like the I Need a First boss, which wasn't fun or hard, but thankfully the other bosses are fun. Just not hard. Except for maybe the final one. That one was alright. So that's a wrap, right? Oh no.
I don't know you, and I don't care.
I can't review this part because I can't play online and I have no one to play with. Why can't I play online, you ask? If I told you, then it wouldn't be a secret. But I'm gonna trust my gut and other people and assume it's as bad as it looks. Kinda a mess segment, but whatever, I ran out of ideas. So, in conclusion, is this terrible or even as bad as it's made out to be? No. I would give it a 7 out of 10. No matter what I said and how it seemed I was dogging on the game, what do you expect? I'm bored and I'm not gonna launch into a spiel about how I love Spongebob and how he's so important to me. So, last thoughts. Subscribe to my Patreon. I will get that Family Guy video done one day, and Shrek 2 review will happen in at least a year since I take forever to get videos out. Also, this is my first time editing on PC, so how does it work, I guess? Like, I'm a newcomer to editing on PC, and